Absolutely crazy. This is not the TVS Apache RTR 1200 V4 because this is actually not a bike brand owned by TVS, and this is the key of the vehicle which you will never need because you just need to keep the key in your pocket. You can unlock the bike, lock the bike, and I don't know what this does, maybe finding the location of this motorcycle or sounding the alarm. Yes, it has got keyless entry, which is fantastic, keyless unlock for the handlebar and keyless unlock for even the fuel tank or fuel lid and whatnot, which is very crazy because this is a very advanced motorcycle which is available in 4 variants. There's the base, which is priced at around rupees 26 lakhs. Then there is the Apex, obviously. This is the Manx R Signature, which is sort of the top variant but not really the top variant. This costs rupees 50 lakhs in the UK. When it comes to India, I don't know what's going to be the pricing because obviously this is an expensive motorcycle and it's going to come via the CBU route. So that's going to be crazy, or maybe TVS can assemble it in India. Anyways, it is a gorgeous looking motorcycle. Just look at it, looks mind blowing. And then obviously the top variant is this one, which is the first edition, but you can't buy it. No, because you have to be invited to buy it. You can just request for the pricing. I think the price would be almost a crore. So what's the big deal here? A lot more aluminium here to reduce weight by 2 kgs. So 201 kgs is the weight of this motorcycle. Yellow color on the brake calipers. And of course, it has got some specific bits like you can see. Yeah, first edition badging 00 of 150. Yeah, that's kind of the difference. And obviously an Akrapovic exhaust. However, this bike is not in working condition, so I can't turn it on to make you hear how it sounds. So let's straight away focus on this one here, the Signature variant. Now, if you notice, the design is very much like a sports bike. Does it look like a Ducati Panigale? I'm not saying it does, you tell me. And there's this opening here for airflow. Indicator functioning at the moment. This is actually the DRL. It has this welcome animation. Yeah, when you unlock the motorcycle, it does this welcome animation, which is kind of cool. I thought that's only for cars, but now bikes are also getting it. And this is the low beam, which also translates into the high beam. So when I come into high beam, you can see that also happens. The visor seems a bit small. A lot of premium materials on this motorcycle because it gets a carbon fiber body, lot of carbon fiber to reduce the weight of the motorcycle. In fact, the wheels, they are also carbon fiber. They call it the Rotobox Bullet Pro wheels. Front tire size happens to be a 120, so exact size is 120 70 17. You get 320mm disc, 2 of them, floating disc. Yeah, so obviously braking performance has to be amazing. Bosch 6-axis IMU, all those things are obviously here on this motorcycle. 45mm USD forks with 120mm of travel. At the rear, you get a monoshock with 126mm of travel. The engine looks so damn freaking awesome. Not many cuts and pieces on this motorcycle. In fact, the tank capacity is 14.5 liters, which is good by superbike standards. And the ground clearance is 133mm. The seat height is 840mm, which means this motorcycle is mainly going to be suited to tall riders, but not for a pillion, because only the base variant gets a pillion seat. This one does not get a pillion seat. Says Norton here. Nice treatment right there. So yeah, branding has been given here. I mean, the bike looks really nice, especially because it has a single-sided swing arm, which looks gorgeous here. 245mm rear disc here. Fantastic. Look at the exhaust, full carbon fiber. Wow, what a beauty. Looks so damn freaking awesome. In fact, they have used a lot of aluminum as well on the levers, this peg as well. So yeah, that's nice. And of course, it has a single-sided swing arm, which extends here to hold the indicator of the motorcycle, which is kind of unique. The brake light is here. Again, the design treatment is almost everywhere, which looks fantastic. So the bike definitely looks amazing. Looks superb. I really love the design of this motorcycle. Looks proper super bike here. Now, of course, the riding position is aggressive with these clip-on bars. There's a steering damper as well here. And you see carbon fiber almost everywhere. Switchgear quality is really premium. So this is actually for the cruise control. This is for the headlight control. This is for the hazard. And this is the horn. Horn is okay. It's actually loud. Indicator switch here. This is to turn on the motorcycle. This is to turn on the ignition. That ignition turns on. And then if I press this button, I can cycle through the ride modes. So rain, road, sport. And obviously it has got track mode as well. And this is for the headlight control. And also to turn on launch control, I think. So launch control is available only in the track version. I mean the track mode. And adjustable levers. Mirrors are a bit small. Meanwhile, indicators are on the mirrors for the US spec model. Now, everything looks phenomenal here, including the switchgear, great quality. But what is this button? I don't know. This is actually the button to turn on the motorcycle, and every time you turn on and off the motorcycle, it obviously has this animation there. So it tells you have to keep the button pressed to lock the handlebar. So this is the cluster of the motorcycle. Now, if I keep this button pressed, I can enter inside. It shows me a lot of information like what's the average speed and what's the top speed, what's the 0 to 100, 279 kilometers per hour top speed today. 2 launch controls left. Why is that? I should get unlimited. And then in ride mode settings, now you can come into the ride modes and make a lot of changes accordingly. So here I come into track, and then I can decide how I want things to work. So I can change the quick shifter, I can change the torque control, torque response, ABS mode, suspension mode. Oh my god, there's a lot of things you can alter here. So yeah, let me come down. Come. What are you waiting for? It has Bluetooth, it has Wi-Fi, it has an app as well. Take me home headlights, lightning demo, all those things are obviously there. So yeah, with the app you can obviously pair it to get call information, music information. You can change the track and all those things. So just come here and make changes. Lot of information here. Yeah, this is actually an 8-inch screen which is fully digital and made by TVS, the software as well as the hardware, which is quite amazing if you ask me. So let's turn on the motorcycle and let's rev it. Rev limiter or soft limiter at 8,000 RPM. Shows me the side stand is up. They should have had an analog design for the cluster as well, which would be so damn cool. But let's forget all this. Let's start riding right away. Alright, let's go. Okay, let me change the ride mode to sport. Now we are in sport, and now it's time to ride this motorcycle, which has bonkers performance, because look at it go. Absolutely crazy the way it performs, because obviously the engine is very powerful. Now this happens to be a 1200cc V4 engine, 4-cylinder V, which offers stupendous performance because it produces 206 horsepower at just 11,500 RPM. Meanwhile, the torque output is 130 Newton meters, which comes in at 9,000 RPM. However, Norton is like, I was going to say TVS is like, Norton is like 77% of that torque comes in from 5,000 RPM only, which means 100.1 Newton meters of torque is coming from 5,000 RPM only. That's the reason why it has got great low end grunt. Performance is very good, feels very punchy, loud as well, feels quite amazing to ride. It's just that, you know, even though it is light at 203 kgs for a liter class motorcycle, it is still on the heavier side. You can feel the weight. It gets a bit, I mean, it takes a little bit of time to get used to this motorcycle because of the riding position, which is obviously very, very, very aggressive here. But there's so much grip on offer, absolutely fantastic. So it has a ton of electronics like wheelie control, traction control, cornering ABS and whatnot, you name it. It has it all. Obviously, naturally, it has to, because how will you tame all that power? And that's the reason why I feel that it's an overkill of electronics, but then there's also an overkill of performance. Front end lifting, absolutely crazy. Whoa, phenomenal brakes, absolutely stupendous braking performance. You've got slipper clutch here, obviously, and you've got quick shifter both up and down. So yeah, bi-directional quick shifter around the corners feels so amazing to ride this, because it is obviously light when compared to liter class motorcycles. Once you get used to the weight of this bike, you are absolutely going to love it. There are 4 ride modes. There's rain mode, there is road mode, and there's obviously sport, in which I am riding right now. And then there are track modes wherein you can configure a few things with regards to the electronics which are available. So a lot of electronics here. In fact, yeah, it is so nimble and agile, lovely to ride. Picks up pace in no time at all. Top speed should be easily 300 kilometers per hour, but obviously you need a long road to do that, although it reaches very fast at high speed. The only thing is there's a lot of wind blast, lot of wind blast, which is expected considering the windscreen isn't big enough, although you should duck down as much as possible to cheat the wind here. Instant response, doesn't hesitate one bit, pulls very nicely and sharply. Superb, like absolutely stunning performance. Superb grip as well. Engine is nice and loud. I like the sound of this engine because it has this bass to it, and around the corners I feel that you need to be too expert to really extract what this motorcycle has to offer, because it does have a lot to offer in terms of cornering, in terms of the way it is around the corners. The brakes are very nice indeed. So it has got ABS, obviously it has got rear wheel lift control, and then I mean the kind of electronics are absolutely bonkers.
It has got cornering cruise control as well. So a lot of these things to ensure that you are able to extract the best from this motorcycle when it comes to riding it. Okay, this is sort of a blind, or so I thought. Yeah, the front end lifts, even though wheelie control is on at the moment. Engine has a lot of power in the mid-range, which is very nice, but it's near the red line where it goes absolutely mental because you can't control it. The red line is 12,000 RPM, by the way. Not very high red line because liter class motorcycles like Kawasaki ZX-10 are obviously red line much higher. So let's see what it does in each gear, for which obviously I'm going to downshift into first. Yeah, and now just notice the speeds. I'm not going to talk much so that you can hear and feel the motorcycle. So here we go. 3, 2, and off we go. Whoa, superb, absolutely stupendous performance. Yeah, brakes also very nice and sharp here. And you notice one thing, right now hazards have turned on because obviously it has got dynamic brake light control, which obviously tells you in case the brake lights turn, I mean in case you brake hard, the brake lights will turn on. Whatever I'm even saying, I'm completely lost because this bike needs some skill. The track is such, I'm not used to it. I'm not used to the kind of this bike. It's a super bike which definitely feels amazing. In fact, it has got something known as torque control, which shuts torque from second and third cylinder. So it's a 4-cylinder V4, right? So it will shut torque from the second and third third cylinder, thereby reducing the output and controlling the motorcycle. Oh my god, beautiful bike, amazing brakes, a lot of electronics at work here, which works stupendously well. In fact, it has a suggestive gear change as well, which tells you which gear you should be in. I'm right now just riding in second gear because the track is a bit narrow, not as big as it should be, so I can just carry speeds in second. But ideally the rev range is so high, you don't need to get out of second only. What will you do getting into third? Because then the speeds there will be absolutely insane. Sort of unmanageable as well. Ooh. Service interval is 1 year, 16,000 kilometers. Meanwhile, the warranty of this bike happens to be 3 years, 50,000 kilometers. And the pricing is quite a lot. So depending on the variant you opt for, the base variant starts at 26 lakhs. The top variant will go almost 70-80 lakhs. The one I'm riding right now, that is Signature, which cost approximately, how much? I forgot. Yeah, this one costs approximately 50 lakhs. So I don't know how they're going to price it in India because it's going to come in via the CBU. In fact, TVS has saved Norton. Norton went into administration multiple times, and what TVS did is pick them up for 2,500 crores. And this is the very first motorcycle after the TVS takeover. And trust me on this, fantastic, what a bike. This is obviously not going to be a mass market seller. There's a lot of competition with known players like the R1, obviously the Honda CBR 1000RR, the Fireblade is there. But right now I think I should just downshift to first. The clutch is actually on the heavier side. The gearbox is smooth shifting, little jerky power delivery in first gear expectedly. And now let's see what it does in each gear again, because we can. This time I'm going to shut up. Okay, here we go. Wow, too much wind blast, but super brakes, absolutely stunning brakes. And gearbox, smooth shifting, but you don't need to use it. Now slipper clutch is there, bi-directional quick shifter is there, all those things are obviously there. Good grip, like really good grip from the tires. The tires actually make sure that you can go through corners at rapid pace. Even the brakes, they make sure you can go through corners at rapid pace. It's just that, you know, if you drive it too aggressively, the rear can slide a bit. Yeah, I am not even in the most aggressive mode. There are still a lot of things to explore in this motorcycle. Mirrors kind of feel useless right now. Hi. You can barely hit the red line because the red line is so far ahead. Yeah, the red line comes in at 12,000 RPM, 12.5 I think. And obviously in the top end it feels bonkers to ride. Yeah, with all the V4 engine, it always has this sort of a pacey nature to it. Not like a sporty, but with a throaty roar. And when you accelerate, obviously you can feel that throatiness as well. Steering feels nice and nimble. In fact, these clip-on bars are superb. Really easy to maneuver this bike, and it has got adjustable dampers. The semi-active damping also helps in terms of the ride, but obviously it is on the stiffer side. That's not all. It has got electronic suspension both at the front and rear, so you can obviously adjust this if you want. Little bit of vibration I can feel on the mirror, but other than that, no vibrations, not much actually. Even in the top end of the rev range, it manages everything so beautifully well. So very, very, very good to ride this bike. Absolutely insane. In fact, Norton is a motorcycle brand from 1898. That's very old. Yeah. Very, very, very old. And now you can expect a TVS Apache RTR 1200 V4, not 4V, V4, which will also come soon. I'm just kidding, that's never going to happen. But the price of this bike is just too much. Maybe they are doing brand building with this liter class bike, and then when they come up with say a 400 or a middleweight, that is the time when people will start noticing in terms of sales numbers. So that's something I'm really looking forward to. They've gone all out. They've actually hired someone from Land Rover. I think Gary McGurn, who was earlier in Land Rover, he has been hired to make sure that the positioning is premium, it's luxury, and it's all that as well. And I'm impressed. I'm very impressed by the bike. Honestly, this is something which is giving liter class motorcycles a run for its money, because obviously it's a liter class as well. And off we go. Front end lifting. Oh, I had to shift to 5th gear. It tops out at 250 kilometers per hour in 4th gear. So that is where the maximum RPM or red line is, in 4th gear. Honestly, you don't need the last 2 gears only, because it does everything so well in the first 4 gears only, which makes me believe that this will easily hit 300 kilometers per hour if you obviously are able to find a road, which is not going to be easy, because on the public roads it can't be put through all its paces because it's so fast. And then out on, say, if you go out, I am getting distracted what am I doing. So if you go on a track, even on BIC, this will not touch 300 kilometers per hour, because it's just too fast, but not as fast to hit 300 kilometers per hour in an instant. So that's a bit of a problem. So like I was telling you, a lot of electronics here. Wheelie control, launch control. Yes, it has got launch control. For that you have to be in track mode only. So what launch control does is basically it ensures optimum torque and optimum traction and all those things to make sure it goes from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour as fast as possible. With motorcycles, it all depends how well you are able to launch this bike, because not everybody is going to be able to have the guts to launch the bike aggressively. But I suspect this bike will go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in approximately 2.5 seconds if launched properly, which is a tough ask, because you simply are not able to launch such a powerful motorcycle. Absolutely amazing. 200 horsepower is mind-numbing to say the least, and it performs beautifully well. I love the engine. I think the engine is a highlight. Actually, TVS is responsible for the engine, because TVS has collected parts across the globe and then assembled the engine in India and then shipped it to Norton in UK, where they have done the final assembly of the engine. So that happens. The cluster which you see here, this is also a TVS input, because TVS has designed, developed not just the software but the hardware as well. So yeah, TVS has done a lot here, and that's one of the reasons why Norton is back, thanks to TVS. TVS's investment and TVS is being bullish about the brand has really helped to bring back Norton. And although Norton as a brand isn't that popular like say a BMW or a Ducati, it's very impressive. So folks are the same which are there on, not the same, but same company which is there on Ducati. I think Norton and Ducati are going to start competing on who has the more expensive motorcycle, because yes, this is very, very, very expensive, and naturally it has to be, considering the fantastic parts used here. Wow. Okay, now it's the time to see if we can go past 250 kilometers per hour, for which I'm going to whack open the throttle now. Front end lifting. Yeah, I shifted too early. I shifted in 5th so early that I couldn't get the bike to go to 250 also. Oh, it's so nice and reassuring to go through the gears. Such an enjoyable motorcycle to ride. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, riding done on the track. And if you are curious how it is to ride on Indian roads, let me give you a demo by riding on these patches. And it's not bad actually, the ride. But yeah, you can feel it.